Can 70 gallons of water really be filled in under 60 seconds? We've got a system that makes moving our mobile chicken coop almost effortless, and the proof is in the grass behind it. Plus, we think something tried to get into our coop last night, but didn't make it past the electric fence. Hi, and welcome back to Whitetail Acres Farm. We've got a full day ahead, mowing the hayfield paths, moving the mobile coop, topping off the water, and rotating the cattle into a new paddock. But let's start with the paths, because that's where every good farm day begins, with being able to actually get around your property. One of the things we stay on top of year-round is keeping the paths mowed around the perimeter of our hayfields. We have about 27 acres of hayfields on our property, and we like keeping these paths mowed at all times. It might seem like just a cosmetic thing, and honestly it does look nice, but the real reason we do it is practical. Being able to drive around the fields at any time lets us monitor the growth, check on the property, and get to any area quickly if we need to. Whether it's checking how the hay is coming along before a cut, looking for any issues within the fencing line or field edges, or just doing a quick property walk to make sure everything looks right. Having a clear, mowed path means we can do all of that without fighting through waist-high grass or worrying about what we're driving over. The other thing it does is keep the edges of the fields clean. When the grass grows right up to the tree line or the fence line, it can create a habitat for wildlife that we don't necessarily want right next to our hay. Deer, rodents, things that can damage the crop or the fencing. Mowing that perimeter keeps the transition zone clean and manageable. So Ryan got started on our large zero-turn mower, which is also our John Deere 997R, but we just call it Big Zip. And he made his way around all the fields. It's one of those tasks that takes a little bit of time, but pays off every single day after that. Every time we drive out there to check on the property, we're glad those paths are cleared. The next thing on our list was moving the mobile coop. We've been using our mobile range coop 250 for pastured poultry, and if you've been following along, you know we move this coop daily to give the birds fresh forage and to distribute their natural fertilizer across the pasture. Moving the coop is one of those things that sounds like a big production if you've never done it, but with our MRC 250, it's actually pretty straightforward. We just hook it up to the tractor or our side-by-side and we pull it forward to a new spot. And that's it. The birds adjust within minutes. They're immediately scratching and foraging in the grass, and it is wonderful. The key to making this work is consistency. The more often we move the coop, the more evenly the fertilizer gets distributed, and the healthier the pasture becomes over time. If you leave a coop in one spot too long, you get too much nitrogen in one area, and that can actually burn the grass instead of feeding it. Moving regularly avoids that problem entirely. So we positioned the coop in its new spot and the birds settled in, but before we could walk away, the water needed to be topped off, and this is where things get fun. We filled the water using our IBC Tote system, and I want to highlight this because it's one of those small farm hacks that saves us so much time. We have an IBC tote set up near the pasture and we run a line from it down to the coop's water system. The method is so fast, it takes less than 60 seconds to fill 70 gallons of water. If you've ever dragged a hose across a field or carried water buckets to a coop, you know how much of a chore that is, especially in the summer when the birds are drinking more. You could be making multiple trips a day. With the IBC tote, we pull up, open the valve, and it's done. Under a minute. The tote holds enough water that we're not refilling it constantly either. It's one of those infrastructure investments that pays off for itself in time saved almost immediately. If you're doing pastured poultry or any kind of mobile livestock setup, I cannot recommend this enough. But while we were heading over to the coop, we noticed something that made us stop and take a closer look. One of our Premier 1 electric fence posts had been pulled completely out of the ground. The fence line was sagging and the post was barely in the ground. Now, we've had posts shift before due to weather or the ground softening after rain, but this time was different. Did a predator try getting to the birds and get shocked by the electric fence? We have raccoons, foxes, and the occasional coyote in the area, and any one of them could go after the chicken coop. But they'd have to get through that fence first, and it's hot. We checked the coop, and all the birds were fine. Nothing had gotten inside, thankfully. Ryan reset the post, tightened the fence line. We did a full walk around to make sure everything was secure. Everything was good, but it's a good reminder, always check your fence lines, especially if you have birds on pasture. The next thing on our list? Well, it wasn't exactly on our list, but we couldn't help but notice it. The spots where the coop had been in its previous moves, they were so much greener than the surrounding grass. You can literally see the outline of where the coop sat each time we moved it. It's amazing how much natural fertilizer improves soil and foliage growth. The birds are doing the work for us, scratching, foraging, and leaving behind exactly what the pasture needs. And it's not just nitrogen, you're getting a full spectrum of nutrients. The manure breaks down and feeds the soil biology, which in turn feeds the grass, and the result is right there in front of you. Darker, greener, thicker growth, and the grass comes back faster in those spots too. And speaking of rotational grazing, we had a big move to make with the cattle today too. We've been having a lot of success with rotationally grazing our herd, and today was moving day for the main herd. We moved our one steer along with our 3 pregnant cows to a new paddock. This one was set up where the winter pasture used to be, and let me tell you, the grass there was so tall and lush. It had been resting for a while, and it showed. That's one of the beautiful things about rotational grazing. When you give a paddock enough rest, the grass comes back stronger, thicker, and more nutrient dense than before. The roots grow deeper, and the soil holds more moisture, and the forage quality is just on another level compared to a field that's been grazed continuously. But here's the thing about cattle. They know. They could smell that fresh grass from where they were, and they could hardly wait for Ryan and I to get that paddock roped off and get the gate open. They were standing right at the fence gate and chomping at the bits to get out on that field. We barely got that last corner staked before they were let loose and headed to the grass. When that gate opened, they moved, and they mostly walked into that fresh paddock and immediately put their heads down and started grazing. No wandering around, no checking things out first. They just went straight to the grass. They're really living their best life on our farm. And for our 3 pregnant cows, that kind of high quality forage is exactly what they need right now. Good nutrition in those last months of pregnancy makes a big difference. Healthier calves, easier calving, better milk production once the calves are on the ground. It's all connected. If you're interested in rotational grazing or pastured poultry and want to see more of how we set up our systems, the MRC 250, our electric fencing, our IBC Tote system, or the rotational grazing system, hit that subscribe button. We share all of the details of what works and what doesn't out here on the farm. All in all, it was a productive and successful day here on the farm. We mowed the paths around the hay fields. We moved the MRC 250 coop to fresh ground. We got the water filled and got the cattle on new grass. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more of all of our farm adventures. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.